Hi, welcome back to the Box Lights game channel. We're playing Mage Knight, the board game, with the Lost Legion expansion. There's a whole ton of new stuff in this expansion for Mage Knight. There's a new playable hero called Wolfhawk. There's new basic actions, new D cards, new units, map tiles, enemy tokens, a whole ton of stuff. What I'm going to do for this series is give you a playthrough of one of the ways that you can use this expansion. The Lost Legion expansion introduces a new character called Volker. The game tells us that not much is known about Volker, whether he's good or bad, or whether he follows higher goals or his own personal agenda. But we do know Volker has become our nemesis in the new co-op and solo scenarios. And that means that there's no longer a need for a dummy player in the co-op and solo scenarios. We have Volker instead, and he can also spice up your conquest games. The rulebook that comes with this talks about the different ways that we can use Volker and use the expansion. So you could just use all the new stuff in your original Mage Knight game, or you can use the variant rules that come with Volker, and that is using Volker's camp instead of a city. But it's also got some new scenarios, and Volker's quest, I think that's the thing I'm going to show you in this series, because it shows you a new way that you can play Mage Knight. At this point I normally show you what's inside the box, but my box is empty. I've got everything inside the original box. So let's have a look inside and I'll show you what's new. Okay. Everything fits inside the new, but I've taken the inlay out. Everything fits inside here just fine. Here's General Volker, and I've got a box now with all my pieces in, and I tend to play straight out of the box. In this expansion we get our new hero. She's called Wolfhawk, and I think we'll use Wolfhawk. What else have we got? We got new enemy tokens, all sorts in all different colours. We got extra dice, some extra shield tokens for each hero, some extra mana crystals. So there's all sorts of extra bits just to make everything that exists bigger. Oh yeah, and we've also got, so there's Volker's camp. We've also got some new terrain tiles. Okay, so there's more cores tiles and countryside tiles to add some variability to our maps. So let me go get set up. I'll introduce you to Volker's quest. First thing we're going to do is set up the map for solo play. As usual, we're going to grab the portal tile, and this new one, which is Volker's camp. It's a core tile, and it has this camp in the middle here. For our portal tile, we want to flip it onto side B. Okay, so it's got the B here in the bottom corner, because our map is going to spread out with 3 countryside tiles adjacent to the portal tile at the start of the game. And for solitaire play we need to select randomly 8 countryside tiles, and there's going to be a mixture in here, so we'll give them a good shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once we've got those 8, we need to grab also 2 core city tiles. So let's separate those out. So 2 random core city tiles. So we notice the expansion doesn't introduce any new city tiles, but of course we've got Volker's camp now instead, which is kind of like a city. Right, so let's grab 2 of these, and we want 4 at random core non-city tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, shuffle these all together. So we've got 2 piles of shuffled core and countryside tiles. Okay, But unlike the regular game, we're not going to draw from this as we explore. Instead, the map's going to be set up right from the get-go. We're going to have our portal tile down one end and Volker's camp down the other end. And the first thing we'll do is grab 3 countryside tiles and place them in a circle here. And 3. Now the next 3 tiles we draw are going to go face down. So it doesn't really matter which way round they go, not until we reveal them anyway. Alright, so we've extended our map this way, and then we do the same again with the next 3. So this one goes here, and then a core tile in the middle. Then we keep going to the right, the next 3. And now we've got 2 coal tiles left and Volker's camp. And they're going to go on the end like this. So again, we just extend the map one more place. So the 2 core tiles on either side. And Volker's camp here in the middle. And you've got to remember when you're placing this tile to put it in this orientation. So this V here on Volker's tile is in the same spot as it is on the portal tile at the beginning. It can be a little bit confusing because if you look, we've got a mission card here which kind of... Volker is going to have some AI and he's going to move about on this map, and that's one thing that makes him different to a city. He's not just standing still like a city, he's moving around. Okay, and Volker's return has some instructions on how he moves. Volker's quest, which is the one we're playing, has some instructions for how he moves. Let me place this here. And if you see on the card, the only complaint I think I've got is that the graphic here, the starting tile is in a slightly different orientation to the correct orientation. If I cut in a little bit closer, you'll see. So this is the terrain that's here at this bottom right in this tile, but here it's got it in this position. Yes, everything's kind of rotated around a little bit on this graphic. Ignore the graphic. Pay attention to the arrows, of course, and everything else. But in terms of orientation, you've got to make sure this tile is oriented according to this V. I'm going to place this over here as a reference. Next, I'm going to grab Volker's token and place a mana die on it. Doesn't matter which side is showing at this stage, just a dice. Next we need to grab Volker and set his level. There's 3 difficulty levels in the scenario, and for Volker's level we have Daring level 8, Heroic level 10, Legendary level 14. So we've set Volker's level to 8, and this determines the number of monsters or enemy tokens that are allied with Volker. So in this case we grab 1 white, 1 grey, 2 red, 2 green. So let's go and grab those monsters. And one of the things I like to do now is play straight out of the box. We're going to keep these face down. So it's 1 white, 1 grey, 2 red, and 2 green. Okay. Keep them face down for now. I'm going to place these over here next to Volker. Next we need to go grab our spell deck, and we need to take out the 4 interactive spells. That's 17, 18, 19, 20. Put those to one side for now. Actually, if you'll notice, if you look here, these are some of the new spells that the expansion adds, and what you'll notice is that they have this little icon next to the card number, so you can always separate these back out again if you wish. And you'll notice that we've got 21, 22, 23, 24, and also number 11, Wings of Wind, Wings of Night, has been updated in the expansion. It may actually be identical to the copy you have of the original Mage Knight, depends which printing you have, but there were some earlier printings that had the wrong text on here, or text which has subsequently been corrected anyway. Alright, so there's our new deck of spells. And the reason we want to keep those 4 interactive spells is that Volker is going to take them and add them into his deed deck. And for the rest of his deck, like the dummy player, we just take one of our original 4 heroes and take the 16 deed cards for that hero. Okay, and that becomes Volkair's deck. Let's use Goldix's 16 cards. Okay, and that goes together with those 4 spells. Actually, Voldix, while we're here, I'll show you he's got Crystal Joy. This is his new updated card for the expansion. Okay, so that's 20 cards so far in our deed deck. But as well as setting Volkair's level according to the difficulty you want to play, remember we set it to 8 for daring level, we also need to add a certain number of wound cards to Volkair's deck. And again, we can vary up the level, so there's quite a lot of flexibility on the difficulty of this quest. So let's go with fair. That's 20 wounds solo. That's 20 wounds cards added to Volkair's deed deck, which means now we have 40 cards, 20 wounds, 16 actions, 4 spells, and we need to give those a proper good shuffle. Alright, we want to make sure that these wound cards are properly dispersed in amongst the deed deck. What that extra number of wounds means is that we're going to have more time, basically. Alright, so if you want to play on a harder level, there's going to be fewer wounds, and as Volkair's ticking through this deck, he's going to be turning cards over, and those wound cards, they're going to give you a little bit of breathing space to react to Volkair's movements. So you can see that as you're playing higher difficulty levels, there's going to be fewer wounds in his deed deck. Let's place Volkair's deck over here. Lastly, we place Volkair here on his camp, prepared for his quest. Okay, here we are then. We've set everything else up as a regular game, really. Here's my day and night tactics. 0 fame, 0 rep. My day-night board ready to go. And my play area. I've only put the regular units out because, you know, as per normal, until we discover the first quartile, the elite units aren't used. Our wounds, our artifacts. Wolfhawk's figure goes on the portal. She's ready. Let's reveal our advanced actions offer. Intimidate, in need, and mountain law, and our spells offer. Mana bolt, mana thunderbolt, call to arms, call to glory, and underground travel, underground attack. And now our unit offer. And one other difference is that when you're playing solitaire in the regular game, you play number of units in the offer is equal to number of players plus 2, so that's solitaire plus 2, 3 players. When you're playing the Volkair variant, Volkair counts as a player, so you end up with 4 cards in the offer. Okay, and of course that also means we have 4 mana dice in the source instead of 3. So let's give those an initial value. Okay, we have 2 blues, a red and a green. And lastly, before we are ready to go, the extra rule for units in the offer that Volkair brings is that some of these units are what's called indecisive. If we look back at the rulebook, remember we're playing the fair level, and solitaire, the number of indecisive units is 1. Okay, it could go up to 3. We've got 1 indecisive unit. What that means is we need to take a crystal of any one colour. Now if we were playing with the 3 difficulty, we take 3 different colours, 2 or 1. It doesn't matter which colour you choose. What's important is that you're marking one of these slots in the unit offer or 2 or 3 uniquely with a crystal colour. When we're checking to see if units are indecisive about whether they want to join the hero or join Volcare, we have to roll a mana die, and if that comes up with, well, I've chosen black here, then this unit in the first slot would go off and join Volcare. And if you had red or green here, you just roll a dice. Doesn't matter which colour. It just means we pick a slot, and that unit is indecisive about his loyalty to the hero or Volcare. Of course, we'll see that in action as the game progresses. Okay, I'll finish there. When you join me again, we'll start the first turn.